Truly Majestic here, and today we're going to be making this really nice textured bumpy blanket. This is arm knitted, it's very easy, you only need to know the knit and purl stitch, and if you don't know them, I'll teach you. Now, what I do want to say is save this project somewhere, because from time to time I do make my arm knitting tutorials invisible and unlisted for different reasons. So if you don't have the exact link to this, you won't be able to find it. So put it on Pinterest or Facebook, Instagram, wherever you save your things, put it there so you won't ever be missing it. Our YouTube channel, Truly Majestic, is at the make or break point, so we really need your support. If you'd like to support us, there are links in the description below. You can also support us by commenting, sharing, and giving us a thumbs up. That would be really helpful. Thanks so much, and let's start making. The first thing we're going to do is tie a simple knot. It does not need to be a slip knot, just a simple knot. And you want the tail facing forward. Now I'm going to be grabbing my yarn from around the back and pulling it through the front of the loop. And I'm just going to be chaining 17 stitches. It's best actually if you chain one extra, 18, in case you've miscounted or you need to make some adjustments. Now you'll notice on your chain, the front of it looks like a braid or a plait, and the back of it should have big dashes down the center of the chain. This is the back of your cast on, and the braid or plait is the front of the cast on. What we're going to do next is pull one more stitch up through the end, and this is the first stitch of the next row, which is still a cast on row. Now we're going to pull our yarn through each dash or bump that's on the back side of our cast on. So there's bumps on one side and a braid on the other side. You want the bumps facing you for this, and just pull the yarn up through each one. You want the yarn loops to be big enough for you to get your hand through and sit comfortably on your arm. Not too big, not too small, and try to make them as even as you can. This whole process can be done easier if it's on the floor or on a table.
Hello, apologies for the interruption of the video, but what we're about to say is imperatively important. So please don't skip this and listen to the entire message. First of all, we both wanted to thank those of you who have been supportive by subscribing, sharing, commenting and purchasing from us. But unfortunately, as Stacy warned everyone about a year ago, that we couldn't continue this for too long without your financial support. We've now actually hit the bottom of the barrel, if you like. With a big mortgage, no reliable source of income, and another baby on its way, we are totally at risk of losing our home and everything with it. We poured all our energy and focus into this to make it into a home business while staying all together as a family. But now we're at a point that we need to reach out to you and urge everyone who is watching these videos to support us financially, either through Patreon or PayPal, or by purchasing from us. This is not a charity where you wouldn't know where your money is going, or if it's even going where it's supposed to go. This is you directly helping your family from a total collapse and rescuing us. If you found value in any of our videos, please show your Support by giving from as little as $1 or as much as your generosity allows. You can make it a regular payment or a one-off single payment. No amount is too little. Any amount helps. Everyone who helps us will get a personalized video which is specially made to thank them personally with some helpful tips. You might even get a surprise gift from the list of our wool items, depending on your generosity. Please don't forget, no amount is too little. Everyone will be able to see the progress of their help towards our goal on our website. It will show you the goal that we have and how much help we've received. Once again, we thank you for your support. Thank you for watching all these videos and supporting us. Please share this and don't forget, no amount is too little. We are totally relying on your grace. Thank you very much. I'll see you again.
Thank you. Back to your video.
Goodbye.
Now let's just have a quick count down through all the loops to see if I have 17. And if I have 18, that's just fine. We'll just take one stitch off and just use the 17 loops. So I have 18. So we need to take this last stitch away, and we will make that little bump go away when we're finished with our blanket. Let's just get to the other side to show you. This is the back side and this is the front side. It has a nice braid and we'll be having the braid facing us. Put your hand through the loops now, from the back of the loop to the front of the loop, and this will make sure the loops are facing the right direction. Now to start off, we're going to slip the first stitch, which means simply place it on your other arm without doing anything else to it. Then we're going to be knitting one by pulling the yarn through the back of the loop. This is called a knit stitch. Anytime you see a knit stitch, you pull your yarn through the back of the loop once you open it up towards you. So we're going to purl this one, and that means pull it through the front. You pull the yarn over the top from the front to the back. Now we're going to be doing another knit stitch from the back of the loop to the front, and then another purl stitch. So bring your yarn over the top and then pull it from the front of the loop to the back of the loop. We're going to keep doing these knits and purls all the way till we have only one stitch left on our arm. For the very last loop, we're going to hold our yarn in our hand and pull it straight through the loop. This is called KTBL, or knitting through the back loop. It's very simple. For row 2, we're going to slip the first stitch like we do in all rows, and we're going to purl the first stitch. So we're going to purl this one by pulling the yarn from front to back, and then knit the next one. See, this is a purl underneath, so we're going to knit it. And if it's a knit from underneath, we're going to purl it. So you can kind of not lose your place. We're going to be purling and knitting all the way to the end of the row until we have one stitch left on our arm. Now for the very last stitch in this row and all rows, you're going to be knitting through the back loop, which means hold your yarn and pull it straight through the end of the loop. For the next row, we're going to do the same, slip a stitch, then we're going to do exactly opposite of what we've done before. So now we're going to knit, purl, knit instead of purl, knit, purl, all the way to the end. And from here on, I'll let you do the rest yourself. I'll leave you with the pattern, and then we'll pick up when it's time to cast off your blanket. This is the pattern you're going to be using. You slip the first stitch in all rows. Row 1, you knit, purl all the way to the end. And row 2, you purl, knit all the way to the end. And the very last stitch in all rows, you always knit through the back loop, which means you pull your yarn straight through the loop. Very simple, not the back or the front. You need to have enough yarn in the end for one more row, and that'll be our cast off row. Alright, it's time to cast off. So I'm going to be teaching you a basic principle for casting off. To cast off any row, we're going to first slip the first stitch like we do in all of our rows, and we're going to knit or purl the second. Whether you're knitting it or purling it depends on the pattern that you're using. So you would do a normal row. Once we have 2 stitches on our arm, we slip the back stitch over the top stitch and drop it off. And we're going to do the same thing through the entire blanket. So whether you're knitting or purling depends on their pattern. This is a basket stitch pattern, so I'm going to be purling 3, knitting 3, and purling 3. But if you're doing an Andalusian stitch or a seed stitch or a moss stitch, it might be knit, purl. But you always should have 2 loops on your arm, drop the back one over the front one, and then knit 1 more loop, so you have 2 loops again, drop the back over the front. Okay, we're almost finished and I'm going to have one loop left. With that one loop, I'm going to pull the tail of my yarn, which shouldn't be too long. You can shorten it if it is too long. Pull it all the way through and snug up this loop. Then I'm going to tuck in these ends and hide them into the blanket. So this is my cast on end. Remember we had that funny bump because we had too many stitches? That was to show you that it's not a problem if you have a chain with a bump. So you just simply untie that, pull your tail through this loop, and then weave in the ends. And that's done by simply tucking it in here and there along the edges of your blanket. Disguise it nicely. You don't want it bulging out. And then it'll be finished and you should have an awesome, gorgeous blanket in the end. You also need to do the same, tucking it in the end with the other side.